Hands on knees, sitting up nice and tall. And letting the eyelids drop, maybe just looking down towards the earth. Breathing in and out through the nose. Gentle softening around the lips and the jaw, the eyes. And to remind ourselves why we're here this morning, here to practice some gentle yoga, a gift to our bodies. And let's start by taking some circles. How are our necks doing this morning? Slow movement. So on Tuesday I started to do the standing sequence from Ashtanga, or a rough resemblance to the standing sequence from Ashtanga. Change directions. So I thought today I'd do a very gentle version of something like the seated sequence. Simply because they give you really nice tools. They give you a really nice layout, a structure for a home practice. And I should say this is so loosely similar that it really bears no resemblance whatsoever. Okay, circling the shoulders. Nice deep breath in as the shoulders come up. And nice exhale as the shoulders come back. You might find you're naturally dropping into Ujjayi breath, breathing through the nose. An audible vibration happening in your throat. And then let's take some full arm extensions. Taking up some space again as the arms rise overhead. There's a nice sweeping inhale. A very happy diaphragm. And as the arms come out to the side and down, there's a deep exhale. A happy autonomic nervous system. Some days are crunchier than others. Okay, and then reaching your arms up overhead, let's fold elbows. Take hold of either elbow and a little side stretch in either direction. And then bringing your arms down, place your hands on your knees, taking some circles in the heart. And then changing directions. Coming up to center, switching left hand across to right knee, right hand behind. Inhale as you sit up. Nice deep exhale as you rotate, taking your gaze behind you. Okay, claiming as much space as you need with wriggling and moving within the posture. And then coming all the way around to the other side. A nice inhale first to get some height. And then a really nourishing exhale as you rotate. And coming back to center. Take your arms back behind you, interlink your fingers, press the palms away, lift your gaze and breathe into your heart. And then releasing the hands, taking them forwards, interlinking fingers, pressing the palms ahead of you as you drop your chin to the chest. Breathe into the back of your heart. And then releasing. We're going to come and lie down on our backs. Maybe just move your cushion to one side if you were sitting on one. We'll start by hugging knees into the chest and giving them a really loving squeeze. Draw them in close. And then open the arms out wide to the side. If you don't have quite enough space, then you can just bring your arms into cactus. Exhale, dropping the knees over to the right, turning your gaze to the left. Taking the time to settle. Almost like you are dissolving into the floor. Inhaling as you come back to center. Extend the legs up towards the ceiling and give them a little shake. And then soften the knees and drop them over to the left, turning your gaze to the right. Melting into the floor. Coming back to center. Threading your arms between your knees, catching hold of your shins. Rocking from side to side. And then raising the feet up, but keeping the knees bent out to the side. Maybe taking hold of the feet if you can. Again, still rocking from side to side. Moving the legs. If you have room, you can even rock all the way over to one side and all the way over to the other side. And then releasing the feet to the floor, soles flat to the floor. Take your arms either side of your body. Walk your shoulder blades away from your ears, and then bend your elbows so your palms face one another. You kind of got robot arms happening. Think about the soles of your feet, all 10 toes pressing down into the mat. Take a nice inhale, and as you exhale, press the knees away from you, and your hips will follow and rise. And then engage the upper arms. You might even be able to walk them a little closer towards one another, and your chest will start to move up towards your chin. Taking some breaths here. And then gently exhaling as you come down. Extending the legs back up towards the ceiling again, giving them a shake. And folding the left leg over the top of the right, bending the knees as if you were sitting in a chair. You can uncross the legs if that feels too strong, but you're going to then open your arms wide into a T and take the knees over to the right, so it's a little bit stronger version of the twist that we did just now. Sometimes both shoulders stay flat to the floor, and sometimes the left shoulder will rise. It just moves the rotation further down the spine. So do the thing that feels right for you. Just notice if you can hear and feel your breath. And then staying on your side like this, uncross your legs so now your knees are stacked. Your legs are still bent but your knees are stacked. Left knee is on top of the right knee. And then the bottom leg, which is your right leg, is going to glide down so the knee comes to meet the left heel. So your legs are now separated. Right knee is beneath the left heel. Take your left hand down and catch hold of that heel, the heel closest to it, which is the right one. And then bring your right hand, and that can just rest on your left thigh or knee. And take some breaths. And then release the hands, slide the knees together, so you're back, you're still on your side, your knees are bent. Slowly come up to centre. And settle yourselves in centre and then reach your legs up and give them a shake. That's interesting how creaky I feel. I wonder if that's from the late night or just dehydration. So lovely to practice something every day. It gives you such a marker of the differences. So you can look back at your behaviour and notice what perhaps it might be. Soften your knees. This time right leg goes over the top of the left. Knees drop over to the left hand side. Arms open wide. uncrossing the legs. So knees stay together. Settle there for a moment. This time the bottom leg is the right leg. So you're just going to glide that bottom leg until the knee meets the heel of the left leg. So legs are apart, both knees are bent, and the right knee is just underneath the left heel. And you're going to bring your right hand down to meet that bottom heel, and your left hand's going to come either to your right knee or to the thigh. Hear the sound of your breath. Bring your knees back together in a nice classical twist. And then let the knees come back up to center. And just notice how you feel here. You might find you want to pick up the pelvis and take it a little further away from your shoulders, so your lower back can come towards the floor. And then give the knees a hug. Thread the arms inside the knees, catch hold of the feet. Perhaps happy baby feels a little bit different, a little bit more mobile. And we still haven't actually started that forward bend seated sequence. So we're going to come up to that now. Crossing the ankles, rock your way up to sitting. We got 10 more minutes. That's a nice length of time for some forward bends. If you have tight hamstrings, by all means use a little cushion to raise your pelvis. It really does help. Legs straight out in front of you. Hands either side of chest. Hands either side of hips. Take a moment to do some circles in the shoulder. Be sure the neck feels mobile still. Shoulders feel mobile. And then the next time you roll your shoulders back, stay there and pause. Draw your tummy button in towards your spine. Keep your hands down either side of your sitting bones. I quite like just having fingers pressing down. For some people, depends on your proportions. For some people they like having their palms flat to the floor here. But for me I prefer fingertips down. And elbows are pulling back behind you. And you're pressing out through your heels. Your toes are pointing upwards. And within the pelvis there's a sense of elevation as you engage Mula Bandha. This pose is all about that elevation. It's always setting the table for what you're about to do. You want to have Mula Bandha when you do forward bends. It protects your spine, keeps your practice safe. So we just hover here to really let ourselves remind those neural pathways of what Mula Bandha feels like, the lifting of the pelvic floor. And then soften the knees, walk the heels a little closer in towards you. Inhale as you reach your arms up overhead. This gives you the space to keep the spine long. The tummy button's still pulling in towards the spine to give you that support. Mula Bandha is still engaged as you come forwards. You're going to take your hands forward. So it's first thing in the morning. We have varying degrees of flexibility here. Perhaps just holding onto the shins is sufficient. Or perhaps you can take hold of your big toes by wrapping your two middle fingers around and closing that circle with your thumbs. So we're less interested in having straight legs. We're more interested in having a strong and spacious spine. And sometimes in our enthusiasm, our shoulders come right up around our ears because we're really trying to make progress. gently glide the shoulders away from the ears. So the movement comes more from the heart, the forward movement comes more from the heart, less from the shoulders. If you like working with straps, then of course you can have your strap wrapped around your feet here. Okay, and then release, and let's try straightening the legs. Inhale, reach your arms up. And exhale as you come forwards, and in this time perhaps the hands come either side of the shins, providing you with some stability, or maybe you come to the toes. You're welcome to keep the knees bent as much as you need to. Inhale as you come back up, reach your arms up overhead. Let's take our hands behind our backs, fingertips pointing towards sitting bones. Soften the elbows, point the toes as you press through the hands and lift the hips up. Maybe you take your head back, or maybe you look down the length of your body, or perhaps you find somewhere in between. See if you can lift your heart and your hips a little higher. And then exhale as you come back down. Always finding space for a wriggle anytime. Inhale, reach your arms up. As you exhale, come forwards. This time you're going to take your hands again. They can just come either side of your shins. You can have your knees bent. Or you can have your legs straight and take your hands around the top third of your foot, the little toe edge. I'm going to bend my knees this morning. And I'm going to wrap my hands around that top third of the foot so you're right across the ball of the foot, the little toe edge. And then consciously I'm going to roll my shoulders away from my ears. So again, my neck's got some space. I'm not creating pockets of tension, I'm melting pockets of tension. And then perhaps the elbows are lifting out to the side. And even though I started with knees bent, I might find that actually once I'm there, I can wriggle my way into a straighter leg. But just notice how the straightening of the legs impacts the lower back. So any kind of tweaking or discomfort in the lower back, just bend the knees. Rather than pushing into a pose, breathe into a pose. Use your exhale. Survival of the gentlest, rather than forcing yourself into something. Okay, and then inhale as you come back up. Reach your arms up tall. Let's interlink fingers here. Press palms up. Get a really nice stretch. And as you exhale, you're going to come forward for the third version. This time you're taking your hands over the tops of your feet. So the palms of your hands are coming towards the soles of your feet. Maybe the chin is going to drop towards the chest. If you practice this at midday, it's going to feel a whole lot easier. 6:30 in the morning, the body is a little bit brittle. Hasn't got its glide on yet. So make the most of your breath. And know that you are introducing the glide back into your connective tissue. And then inhale as you come back up. Reach your arms up high. Exhale, take your hands around behind your back again. We're going to repeat that nice counter pose. So pointing your toes, soften your elbows, draw the shoulders away from your ears, and then press through the hands and the heels to get your hips up, your heart up. Your toes are moving towards your toes. Your toes are moving towards the floor. They're not moving towards your toes. One thing that's really common is that the feet drop out to the side and your legs kind of externally rotate. Try not to let that happen. Squeeze into the midline so your knees stay together and your toes are working their way towards the earth. And then exhale as you come back down. Okay, we've got time for one more. So for this one, you might want to take the cushion away. We'll do a little bit of an external rotation, Janu Sirsasana. So you're going to bring your right knee in towards you, give that a hug. And then try to avoid catching hold of the foot because there's a whole lot of yanking that usually wants to happen. Just let the knee turn out to the side. And if you're working with a cushion and your knee's flying high like mine is, just prop that thigh up. It really makes a difference to what's going on in the hip there. Inhale, reach your arms up. And exhale as you fold. Inhale as you come back up. And straighten the neck. We're going to switch to the other side. So move the cushion across. Give the left knee a hug first. Find your sitting bones. Just notice that your right toes are still keeping you nice and strong. Without yanking the foot and the knee drops out to the side, perhaps it gets propped up by a cushion. Hands either side of the straight leg. Inhale as you sit up. And exhale as you forward fold. These forward folds can be a really lovely kind of cocooning experience. Even though hamstrings are often very tight and so the poses aren't easy, there is a sense of comfort as you, it's almost like coming in and hugging yourself with every forward fold. So if there's any kind of trickle of battle or domination needed that you feel you need in your body, then just let that dissipate and instead see it as a warm hug for yourself. Nobody needs to do the perfect forward bend. Inhale as you come back up. Cross your ankles, bring your hands to your heart, close your eyes for a moment. Notice how you feel. And offer the fruits of our practice to all sentient beings. That everyone may remember how it feels to care for themselves. Namaste.